Now, if you're watching the title of this video, don't get upset, don't get offended. This video is going to be an explanation for why body count matters. What's up, guys? My name is Sumi, and I'm a life coach, and I work with people in a ton of different areas. If you're new to this channel, definitely hit that bell notification to stay subscribed and to be on top of every video that I'm releasing. If you haven't checked out my podcast, definitely check it out. Leave a review if you like my content, and if you haven't done so already, fill out the form below if you ever want to work with me one-on-one with coaching. With that being said, let's jump into today's episodes of why body count matters. A lot of women might be upset by this video, and I don't necessarily make this video to upset you. I make this video to kind of explain what every single guy is thinking out there. And for those of you that think that I'm not speaking for a lot of men, I'm speaking for the majority of men right now. I'm speaking for a lot of men when they see a woman with a large body count. So, jumping right into it, what is a large body count? Now, body count is such a strange, it's very interesting to me. And I think that body count to me and to a lot of men is just men that have gotten access to you, men that have penetrated you, men that have really been able to acquire you very easily. And it's not necessarily the amount of times that you had sex. It's not necessarily like the amount of times that you've had interactions with somebody, even if you've done so in the past and later again. It's really about the different men that have had access to you, the amount of men. I don't necessarily think kissing counts for body count. I think it really just means intercourse, like hard level sexual interactions. So now that we've defined what body count means to a lot of men, I'm going to tell you this. A lot of men are not interested in women with a large body count. And this has been seen culturally, and I'm going to explain why it's a biological facet, and I'm going to explain why it's also a social construct. So there's two constructs here that you need to understand. Why body count is so bad biologically, and why body count is so bad socially. So let's get right into it, right? Socially, body count is a sign of acquisition. People are attracted to scarcity. People are attracted to things that can't be acquired. And a man is very territorial about his woman and her sexuality. Men want a woman that nobody has touched. Men want a woman that nobody has laid hands on or has really been inside or really penetrated, because it's a sign of status. The woman that a man has and that's married to, that's in a partnership with him, is a huge level of status for him. And here's where we get in the conversation of, oh, you're objectifying women. Oh, a woman's job is not to be a man's status symbol. Like, listen, the quality of the partner that you have is a huge representation of the quality of person you are. The quality of the car that someone's drive is often a huge representation of the level of income or the lifestyle that they live. Yes, I know millionaires that drive Honda Civics. Yes, I know broke people that drive very nice cars. But just to have a nice car like a Rolls Royce or a Bugatti or some really nice car, it means that you have to have money, or it means that you must be connected to people that have a lot of money. Even when I see people with rentals of a rental of a Rolls Royce, I'm like, dude, you have to be paying like $1,000 and $2,000 a day to get that car. It means that you have expendable income and you want to look good and you want to flex. Even though you may not be owning the amount of assets that you say you have, or really having the amount of money that you have or that you're claiming to make, you're still paying for that car in one way or another. So shouts out to you. Even when I see guys renting cars, I'm impressed by them. And what I'm saying here is that when I see people with an attractive woman, that's one part. Then when I see him with a very feminine, refined woman, that's even more respect. And third, when I know nobody that has been with this woman and nobody has really been around with her, and she's very conservative, she's kind, she looks at her man with these starry eyes and she loves him, I look at that man like, yo, you got something going on. You're a guy that I want to be around. You're a guy that I respect. Just off that. Because if a woman that's very attractive and very feminine and very conservative is respecting you, that means that you are a respectful man, because it's not easy to get her. By definition, she's not easy to impress and she's not easy to get, because her body count or her status and her reputation is very, very clean. If I know a girl that's been around with a bunch of guys, I know that she's willing to step out and really give her time to anybody. So if she's investing her time into a guy, I know that this guy may not necessarily be a high caliber, high value guy. Yes, I see athletes with girls that are just out here in the streets. Yes, I see celebrities with girls that are just out and about. Yes, I know girls personally that have done a lot of things, go out with men that are very successful. And the reality is these men either don't care or they don't know. They're just in it for the physical, or they're just completely unaware and they've been misled. If the men that don't care are just in it for the physical, that says a lot about the interaction itself. It's not necessarily an interaction that you want to be a part of or you want to replicate. And if those guys don't know, sooner or later they may find out and they may separate from her, or they're really just going to be in a relationship with someone that doesn't necessarily have a clean reputation, but in their perception it's okay. So that's okay both ways. I'm not going to sit here and say what's right and wrong. My point is, men want what's rare. We want the car that nobody has. We want the apartment that nobody has. We want the house that everybody wants to be in. When you have something that nobody's able to get, it is a source of value. Another thing is, sex doesn't mean a lot to a man, but love means a lot to a man. Remember that. A man making love is completely different than a man just having sex. Men are able to detach a lot easier when it comes to sexual encounters because they don't produce oxytocin. So, quick biology lesson here, and this is debated very heavily, but it's been supported by some articles. It's also been disqualified by a lot of medical journals as well, so you can really decide what you want, but I do think it stands true. Women gain emotion over sex. They get very attached over sex. And the big thing you got to understand is women produce oxytocin. Women and men produce oxytocin, the chemical of love. It's used for a lot of different things besides that as well, but we're just going to call it the chemical of love during intense emotional connection. So for both men and women, it's there, but also during childbirth, during breastfeeding, oxytocin literally signals the body to produce lactation, and also during sex, during vaginal stimulation. So women typically lose situationships because they fall in love. I mean, in a generalistic aspect, men are a lot less valuable in the sexual marketplace because men are really just sex on demand. A good-looking girl can go to a bar and get a guy to come home with her very easily. A good-looking guy, even if he's got the Lambo, even if he's got the six-pack, even if he's got the money, may not be able to pull a girl that night. It depends. It really depends. So men are not able to get sex very easily. That's why there's female prostitution. There are escorts. Female adult content stars get paid a lot more. There is a reason that there are attractive females serving certain restaurants and getting paid more rather than a restaurant full of attractive males. It is no secret that men desire sexuality, but when a man wants to make love, it is so much more sacred, and they want that place to be their home. A man's home is his woman. And when his woman has had a lot of previous tenants, it makes that place less special. It makes the interaction less special. It makes the whole thing less valuable. And also, what we have learned from data and science is that women that have a large body count, a body count that is on the higher side of the spectrum, they are more likely to cheat. They're more likely to engage in infidelity. They're more likely to be argumentative and to leave the relationship. And they're more likely to separate in very egregious and emotional ways. This has been supported by a lot of medical journals. You can go ahead and look and research this stuff. But women that have a large body count understand that, oh, I can go get this from another man. I have been with other men. Just by that belief in itself, it may be a good thing. They know that they can go get other men inside of their man. Whereas a girl that has never been with a girl that's never been with a lot of guys, it takes more effort for her to go out and date in the marketplace and try to find somebody and try to investigate opportunities because she has, number one, less experience. She's not used to it, and it's just not something that she really wants to do a lot of times. So socially, men are attracted to women that have low body counts. When a guy is with a girl and he slept with her, it's almost like he owned her and he has conquered her. That is how men think. I know men that will drive by a restaurant and be like, yeah, I used to hook up with the waiter, and they feel like they own the restaurant. That's literally the primitive nature of a man. I'm not saying it's correct, once again, but I want you ladies to understand that men really don't like women with a large body count. They'll sleep with her, they'll talk to her, but no high caliber guy is really going to make his bed with the woman that has an egregious body count. And I'm going to get into like what a large body count is later at the end of this video, so stay tuned, but this is the big thing you guys got to understand. Now, biologically, we didn't have contraception before, okay? So now women can really just sleep with men without any consequences. Contraception, there's over 40 types, has now made it a norm that you can basically go sleep around with anybody and have absolutely zero consequences. You can get on birth control and have a bunch of guys explode in you and nothing will happen. And that's amazing in a way, but it's absolved a lot of responsibility for women to be really conservative with their bodies. As a result, paternity has become a very complex equation nowadays. You know, now I talked to a couple guys that worked at a paternity clinic and they said they couldn't work there anymore. And the reason was over 40% of the tests that came in showed that the children were not theirs. That is insane. Men raising children that are not theirs. Men raising children of another man, not continuing their lineage and legacy. That hurts a man. That really damages him at the core level. And in a biological construct, if a man is around a woman a lot and she gets pregnant, it's like, okay, she must have had sex with this man. Before contraception was a thing, if a woman was seen with a lot of men, we don't know who the father is in a very primitive wiring. So when a man sees a woman with a lot of men, he is not sure about contraception. And this doesn't really stand today. It's not like a thing because you can get paternity tests and you kind of know. But the thing is, it's a very inbuilt biological mechanism. A man does not want a woman that is around a lot of men. A man wants a woman that is very, very gorgeous, right? Very, very attractive, but she's recluse from men, which is like almost impossible to find today. When you look at attractive women today, they're going to have men hitting them up, and typically the most attractive women, I'm going to keep it real with you guys, are the ones that are out here and sleeping around the most. It's not the girls that are not attractive. It's not the girls that are in the medium tier. It's the attractive women, because a lot of men will go for her. And in my personal experience, this is my personal experience, the ones that are the most attractive are the ones that are sleeping around the most, and also the ones with the largest level of STDs. That's another reason that we're scared to sleep with women that have a large body count. There's a higher chance of STDs just by probability and numbers. It doesn't necessarily matter if you use a condom or not, because you're more likely and you're more willing to give your body up, and there may be a 1 or 2 interactions where you might have just not been safe. I know a lot of women personally that just don't care. And in my younger days, I was always the one advocating for let's use protection, so on and so forth. And some of these women just didn't care. Some of these women just wanted to do it. And it scared the hell out of me when I talked to a woman that was like that, because I'm like, are you like this with every other guy? Because I know I'm not the best. I know I'm not the tallest. I know I'm not the richest guy you've been with. So if there's a guy that's better than me, which is very much likely, you might have just not used protection and you don't know where this guy has been. See, it's not even that I don't trust women all the time. It's that I don't trust men. And if a woman is going to be with a guy that seems good, that's successful, that's attractive, those guys get the most girls. The guys that I know that have the most STDs that are really sleeping around out here are the most successful men, and they get the woman the easiest. So it's no surprise that men are scared to be with the woman with a large body count. I think a lot of women get upset by this because it's like, why does that matter? It does matter. It does. When a man is in an interaction with somebody and he's talking to a guy and that guy has secretly slept with his wife and has done all sorts of things and has videos of them, it hurts. Just as you would not want your man out here spending money on other women and buying nice things and doing this, that, and the third, that's almost the equivalent. If you know your man has been married to a bunch of women, has spent a lot of money on other women, and has taken women on a lot of dates and done all this stuff, you probably would not feel like it's so special that he's taking you out to eat at a restaurant. You probably would not feel like it's so special when he's buying you a bag or doing something nice for you, because he's done it for a lot of other women. So men are very territorial about her sexuality. Now, let's get back to the question at hand. What's a large body count? What does Sumi have to say about what a large body count is? My answer is not one that you're going to like. It varies. In some cultures, being a virgin is required, especially in like brown culture and Arabic culture and Indian culture. You ideally want a girl that's a virgin. Is that realistic in today's world? Not really, not all the way. I mean, if you go overseas, yeah, I would say so. But in today's modern day countries and modern day cities, it's not realistic. Finding a girl that's in her mid-20s or early 20s that's a virgin is really, really hard. It's not normal. It's not something that's common. So am I someone here saying that you need to be a virgin and have a 0 body count? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you need to be someone that even has a low body count. What I am saying is that when you have a large body count, men are more likely to be pulled away, a little bit more scared, a little bit more non-intentional about the relationship. They look at you more as an option or a sexual experience. And this is something that you have to really be aware of. I think that a lot of men are very, very against women with body counts over 10. And I do know a lot of women that have body counts over 10. And I have dated women that have had body counts over 10. And I had a great relationship with them. So does this mean that you can't have a good relationship if you have a body count over 10? No. It just means that the man proceeds with more caution. I've dated women that have had large body counts, and they were very good in a lot of different aspects. And I never had issues with them cheating on me or doing anything like that. Ironically, it's funny that you guys might think that. The women that have cheated on me, in my experience, were the ones that had lower body counts. And that might just be chance, because I don't necessarily think that's the norm, that women with low body counts are the ones that are out here cheating. I'm just giving you my experience that's ironic to what I'm saying here as well. There's always exceptions to every rule. So I'm here to say that if a woman has a larger body count, does it mean that you should date her? No, absolutely not. Really look at her for the qualities that she has, because there's women that have gone through situations in their life where they've been traumatized, or they've been in bad relationships, or they've been in a bad mental state, and they've reformed and redefined themselves. However, that reputation will always stay with them. And I'll tell you right now, if any of those women have slept with a friend of mine or someone very close, or have done things that were just not really good for their reputation that was permanently scarring, I probably wouldn't have dated them. Those girls had a little phase, maybe in college, and I don't know any of the guys they went to college with, or I don't know any of the things that they've done, and that's fine to me. I didn't really take it as something that I needed to be worried about because they weren't in the same city, they weren't in the same area, and yeah, there might be one or two guys when they talked to when they were younger, but does that really affect me and the relationship we're in? Not 100%. Now, if it's egregious, yes, it matters because it says a lot about her character, but the women that I dated that had larger body counts were not in even close to the 20s or in the 30s in my perspective, and the women that I dated that had larger body counts were not in the crazy numbers. Now, some of you women might say, okay, I have a large body count, I've done things in my past, I have a reputation, what do I do now? You just be the best you can. You understand that, you've done things in the past, just as some men have done things in the past. Some things have affected their credit score. Some things have affected their reputation with their friends and business. You just have to be the best version of yourself that you can. I know women that have had large body counts that have really just changed their life, and they haven't been sleeping with guys in the last 2 to 3 years, and they're like, I don't want to be anywhere near the person I was in the past. And that's completely fine because they've completely redefined the way that they act. So what is a large body count? It really depends on the culture. Men in bigger cities and modern day culture are willing to accept more because the reality is we're just more accustomed to a culture that's very sexual. Men that are in more third world countries are more so religious, very heavily religious, I should say. They're more likely to want a girl that has like almost no body count or very, very little. And this is just something you have to be aware of. It's something that you have to really just take into account and say, look, this is what I'm looking for. If you want a man that's extremely religious, that's extremely traditional, that's extremely like, hey, I'm going to be very, very conservative, he's probably going to want a girl that has a low body count. If you want a man that's a little bit more out here, that has had a lot of experience himself, that is in a modern day culture, and that doesn't necessarily care, and that may not be as traditional, that may be more 50-50 in a sense, he might not care at all what you're doing. He might be okay with you doing OnlyFans or being in adult content. Like, there's a lot of guys out there like that. So when you're talking about what you want to do with your body, be very cautious because every partner that you had is an exchange of energy. Every partner that you have learns something from you and you learn something from them, whether it's good or bad. All of the women that I've slept with, it's not a flex to me. It's not something that I'm necessarily proud of. If I could take back 99.9% of the sexual encounters that I have, I would have taken them back. I would take pretty much every single one back because it doesn't bring me any value. And a lot of those women didn't teach me good things. A lot of those women taught me to just be more available and more lustful and be more open with myself when I should have been more closed off, more focused, more disciplined, and less focused on that. So I don't think it's a good thing that even I have a large body count. I don't think it's a good thing that a lot of men have a large body count. I think that body count should apply to men as well. I think that men should be conservative with themselves as well. So I don't make this video to just bash women with large body counts. So I also make it to hold accountability to men that have a large body count, including myself. I made a lot of mistakes when I was younger, and as a result, in the last 3-4 years, I've been very, 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 very cautious with the people that I spend time with, especially in an intimate fashion. And that's a testament to me redefining my standards. And because I've changed my viewpoint so much, I do believe that women can do that as well if they had a large body count. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I really appreciate you giving me the time here today and spending a little bit of your day with me. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on social media. And until next time, Sumi out.